I'm Angel Tuccy from Media Firestorm and excited to showcase another one of Media Firestorm clients in this fantastic case study. And today we have Shaté with us. Shaté, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Angel. Thanks so much for the invite. Excited to be chatting with you.
I'm excited. Jimmy and I have been watching your success, and we are just really just over the top, over the moon excited to feature your success, right, as a case study. So before we get into it, just give us your name, your business, and tell us where you're coming from.
Absolutely. So I am Shaté Hayes, originally from Houston, Texas, but I live in the Atlanta area. And I am the founder and CEO of Career Steward, where we help mission-driven creatives and orgs tell stories that win jobs, clients, and influence.
I love it. I love it. So I don't know if it's going to be easy for you, but try to go all the way back before you joined Media Firestorm. Tell us a little bit about your business and what you were doing to grow your business and how that was going for you.
Yeah, so my story is that I actually had been thinking about this iteration of my business. I think it's an extension of the work that I've been doing for a number of years. And I would say that I'm probably like even on my third career at this point. But I was still in corporate America as of January 2024. And like we're in the end of August now. And so I had just actually left. I was the VP of a programs team at a nonprofit and really worked in workforce development for quite some time and sort of grew tired of the way that workforce development programs work and that it's always about the employer, in my opinion. And I often saw folks who were like looking for the next thing, but sort of trying to make these jobs fit that weren't them. And I just hated it so much. So the top of this year, I officially left corporate America to do it my own way. And so before this program, I've been trying to like figure it out. I've done tons of programs in the past, even like as I'm in corporate America, to sort of learn what I need to know and get the tools I felt like I thought I needed. And yeah, I've just kind of felt like cloudy and sort of, yeah, just kind of like fumbling my way through whatever this like the journey of this new venture was.
I think that's pretty common, right? When you, especially you're stepping into something you never even knew existed before.
Mhm.
Yeah, what is that going to look like? And I think for so often we tend to stay in something because it's familiar, even if we're not happy, but
Yeah.
it's familiar. And so stepping into something new takes a lot, like takes a lot of guts, takes a lot of
Mhm.
bravery. How did you find us media, or how did you find Media Firestorm? Do you remember?
It had to be, my goodness. So one of the gazillion programs I've done before, I've made lots of relationships, which I really treasure, even though maybe the results of those programs weren't what I was hoping for. But I keep in touch with lots of folks because I love having conversations. And someone had to have said, oh, if you're looking to be on a podcast or something like that, there's this group on Facebook. And so I don't frequent Facebook or social media often. It takes intention for me to like seek out social media. It's not my first go-to. So I joined the group and gave my email and looked in the group maybe like twice. But I'm getting all these emails all the time. And I remember thinking, like, who is this that's emailing me like every single day? And I had like tons of emails. And it just so happened that one day, and I also have like a gazillion email boxes. So one day I was just like, I'm going to sit and clean up this one particular inbox where these emails are going. And I'm just like kind of cleaning them up. And then I started to like click on them and like read them and say, like, oh, actually, this is where I am. And this is what I need. And so by happenstance, I don't know how many emails I received, but I can guarantee that I read maybe one, if at all, like if any. And then when I started to clean out the inbox and started to really like resonate with what was there, I literally booked a sales call and then the rest is history. So I feel like it was, yeah, sort of like a fate, like meant to be kind of thing because I wasn't really checking for you all at all. It just kind of like appeared from as if from the heavens, right? And then I was like, oh yeah, I do need this. And so
I
booked.
love that. I think that's such a fun story because we were there, but when you were ready, it felt like, oh my gosh, like we just showed up. So, Shate, did you have any doubts and fears about signing up and enrolling? And if you did, what made you say yes, even if you had those doubts?
Yeah, I definitely did. One, because I'm not an impulse buyer. So even though I sought out, the call to learn more information, and even though I was super excited, like by the end of the call, there was something I was still kind of like, am I gonna do another thing? Right? I'm just starting this business. I need to be smarter with my finances. I've already invested what feels like $1 million in programs over the past couple of years. Am I gonna do another one? Was my hesitancy. And I even asked for a beat to think about it, which is just true to who I am. And so I asked for, I think, a day to sort of process it. Because, yeah, I just kind of had to talk myself through, okay, how would I feel if I don't get the return? You know what I mean? Like, sort of the same thing that I felt in other programs. Like, how quickly do I feel like I'm going to get this off my credit card? Like, those types of things. And so, for me, and it's just is how I live my life, the idea of staying stuck in a place scares me more
Mm.
than trying the new thing. So I figured might as well, you know?
Just take one more leap of faith, right? And
Exactly.
say
Exactly.
yes. So where are you at now, Shate? Like that was a big decision, something you had to overcome. How quickly am I going to get this off my credit card? Am I saying yes to another thing that might not work? Tell us now, like how do you feel? What success have you had? And what do
Mhm.
you think that you're able to do now that maybe you couldn't do before?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I definitely feel like I'm glad I took this additional leap of faith, this other one, because now I feel like I have so much more clarity. And so maybe less than 60 days in, it's really been about like I've been challenged in a number of ways to sort of get out of my head, do things that feel a little uncomfortable to me. Like the idea of emailing my list every single day was like, oh, snap. And like, even if I could share this, one of the main shifts in perspective for me is like the fear of losing subscribers for my list. You know what I mean? Like I was holding this list so dear, and it's just kind of like, oh, well, it's a good thing if they're not on my list, if they don't, you know what I mean? If they don't want what I have to offer, that's actually better. So, I'd say in terms of my wins for me personally, the alignment piece is probably the biggest thing. Like I'm actually running my business in a way that feels good to me and authentic to me. Whereas I realized very early on in this program that I was doing other programs based on what I thought those people could teach me, but they weren't necessarily in alignment with who I was as a person. Now, I couldn't articulate that early on, or maybe they weren't as clear about their process early on. So Media Firestorm, you all did a really great job about talking about the process. Like this is exactly what we're taking you through. You're not just learning a bunch of things. And so I could really see myself in the doing of this process. Whereas before, I think there was probably more sales around the outcome and not about the process of like how you're going to get there. So this process works for me, someone who loves having conversations and connecting with people and telling stories and right. And so now I've been on what I think I'll be on my 13th or 14th podcast this week. I'm writing my email every single day and actually like looking forward to it. The other thing for me is like it's like the daily emails have given me ideas for other ways to sort of grow my credibility and like how can I repurpose these emails to like a reel even or to a blog post or to something on LinkedIn. And I am still figuring out how to grow my list in a way that works for me. But even now I'm kind of like, okay, I can I think I can post on social media and ask people if they want to sign up. Whereas before I would have been like, just no, absolutely not. That feels really sleazy. I'm not going to do it. But, it took me some time. But now I'm kind of like, okay, let me, like my list doesn't have this elusive power over me now. Let me just try some things and see what works.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Shate, why do you think that this was in such alignment for you, compared to what you've done in the past?
I love the fact that we're doing and not just learning a bunch of things. So it's real application. There's content to learn and consume, yes, but it's like I'm learning with people, I'm learning from people, I'm learning from people's questions and stories, but I'm actually required to be like doing something. And then there's so like just practical tactics of like what to actually do. I've done so many programs where they're like, you could do it this way, you could do a thing this way. And I'm just having someone saying like, no, open up your email. This is how you write it. This is how many words it should, like how long it should be. This is what you should talk about. Like I'm not a person that necessarily needs the accountability. It's nice. I just need someone to tell me what to freaking do. You know what I mean? And I finally am in a program where someone's just telling me what to freaking do. And so that is just like a breath of fresh air. And it's not that someone's telling me what to do and I just have to do it. I get to like investigate that, interrogate it, figure out how it works for me. What kind of stories do I want to tell? You know what I mean? What kind of podcast do I want to be on? It's also kind of given me permission to sort of be more of myself in all of the areas of my business. Like I don't have to, I was looking around like, oh, this person does their business this way and this person does their business this way. And oh, they charge this much. Should I do all of those things? And it's sort of given me permission to be like, nope, this is how I'm doing my business. Authenticity and alignment feel great to me. And that's what we're doing, you know?
I love it. We often say, right, it's not a learning program, it is a doing.
Mhm.
And the fact that you've like kept, kind of caught on to that, like we are out there, we're making practical progress every single day.
Mhm.
So that feels really good to Jamie and I, and we love watching the success that happens when you actually go out and road test the system. Like we just figure like the best way for you to learn it is to go out and do it for yourself. So
Yes. Wait,
what would you, oh,
can
go
I say
ahead.
one more thing in my win? I completely forgot. So I
Oh,
mentioned content and emails and podcasts, but I like made a sale too. That's huge. Like in less than 60 days of a program, who does that, right? And so there's so many other stories in the group about folks making sales within, their first 60 days. And so that's also really powerful to like kind of go from not just not necessarily making sales, but almost like undercharging, lowballing myself, and to hear from you all, like, I think you're not charging enough. You need to like work this out. And then also this is how you can sell it. Like that's pretty priceless. So definitely want to make sure we capture that.
Oh yeah, for sure. We love it when you make sales. That's the whole point of all of this. I think Jamie and I, every time we come up with something, like the point of this is to help you monetize, right? It's not just to be busy. It's not for something to do. How do we actually help you grow your business in the best way, right? More leads, more sales at the end of the day. So I'm glad you brought that out because that was a biggie. That was super exciting. Okay, so Shaté, if what would you say to somebody who might be watching this and is unsure about enrolling in Media Firestorm? What would you want to say to them?
Yeah, what you waiting for? That's probably what I would say. I love that there's so many different types of businesses in the program. And it's so interesting, even across all of these industries, how we are all having the same questions, sort of the same wondering, the same insecurities. And just to be in this group and be kind of learning together in very unexpected ways, just to kind of like watch someone else's feedback in a thread. You're like, oh, yeah, that helps my business too. Or like you show up to a call and you might not have any questions. And like the conversation is just like exactly what you need in the moment. And so, yeah, what you waiting for is probably that's the thing that's coming to mind for me. So I'm going to stick with that.
Well, we stick with that. Yes, go with your gut, right? Trust your intuition always. All right, Shaté, I know that our audience and our anybody listening is going to be really interested in connecting with you and following up. What is the best way? What step do you want them to take next?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of stories and alignment and authenticity, like that's exactly what I'm all about and like what this program has sort of helped me uncover and remember and like, run with. And so I'd love to help folks tell their stories in a professional way so that they can win, their next job or their next client or influence so that they can have careers that they love. So I've got career resources and behind the scenes of career fulfillment stories at lightmycareermatch.com.
Lightmycareermatch.com. I like it, right? Like a little matchbox. Lightmycareermatch.com. Well, Shate, thank you so much for just being just so special, right? You're just such a bright light every time you show up on screen, every time you show up in the community. And so Jamie and I are just super excited to highlight you and to showcase you. But congratulations on your success and thanks for being with me today.
Thanks so much, Angel. Such a pleasure and an honor.
Thank you. Bye-bye.